Light Party is essentially a synthesis of the Democratic, Republican, Green parties, and we've created a synergistic, scientific, and I'd say highly comprehensive 7-point platform which actually addresses and resolves our current socioeconomic and ecological challenges. What we need more than anything is we have to wake up and become wise. My definition of wisdom is knowing what to do next. Wisdom is knowing what works. We now know what we need to do. Everybody wants health, everybody wants peace, and everybody wants freedom. But until there's a real core transformation in our consciousness, that will never happen. But the good news is that is what's happening. The beauty of the Light Party is we're an empowerment party. We're an educational empowerment party. So we're actually interfacing. We've built a very big network, grassroots network, that supports any progressive candidate. So we're not really in competition with anybody. Most people, unfortunately, tend to be stuck on what's not working, on the dysfunctional aspects of life, the outer world, the world of illusion. And that world is rooted in illusion, and it's run by fear. tell you a funny little story. My friend who I work with, who I do my editing with, great good friend, he's got his issues with his immediate family and his siblings, and they're all acting very strange and bizarre and erratic, and he's commiserating with me and telling me about the latest this and the latest that, and his sister's crazy, and this one is going off the deep end. And I said, you just need to understand one thing right now, is that most people at this time are mentally ill. And he just started roaring. I didn't say it as a judgment. I said, people are just mentally ill. Now, why are people mentally ill? They're confused because people have too much information. The mind becomes confused when there's too much input. And you have all these different belief systems competing for what the truth is. The mind becomes confused, hence the anger and projection. That's what you see in the political discourse here. Everybody's angry. Not everybody. I'm not angry.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
People don't know what the truth is, and they're looking for answers, and they realize that the so-called experts don't know either. So people are angry, confused, and overwhelmed, too much information. Would you agree with that? Huh? That's very disturbing to the mind. Personally, I do a clearing process. One of my deepest heartfelt prayers was that I never become an intellectual. I deal with a lot of information, but I know how to process it, and I am able to put it into an archival form to share. And that's what I do. I keep archiving on my website. Fantastic information that's coming from you name it, because there's tremendous intelligence being brought to bear now to help humanity, all of us, extricate ourselves from an enslavement. And the enslavement is in our minds. So it's really liberation of our minds, of our consciousness. And what main focus of the Light Party and yours truly is to give people the keys to health. If I can just do one thing, is just say, this is the keys to staying healthy. If you could do that one thing, you'd be an inestimable blessing, not only to yourself and your family, but to the planet. And one of the keys is to stop eating less, eat less food. Underconsume, and underconsume. The Light Party message. Now's the time to lighten up. Enjoy the music. Simplify your life. Accentuate the positive. Choose health. Choose peace. Choose freedom. That's it. That's our message. As we align, truly align in an inner way to the truth of who we are, then we're in a place of real power where we can reconstruct, revision, and create a world that really reflects the truth of who we are. And we're being brought into harmony with you might say, the higher mind or the cosmos. See, everybody has their own agenda, but the universe has its own agenda. And the agenda of the universe at this point is liberation.
Why all the warring? All the pain, why all the dying for the sake of our name? Why should our children carry our pain? I asked for a reason, then I heard you say, for freedom, freedom, a voice from long ago said, freedom, freedom, a voice I've come to know. Freedom, freedom, echoes through the glen.
We're coming into the present and we're choosing, those who choose, and there are many of us who are, to create a new future that is absolutely different than the historical past. All the issues that we're talking about are actually in process, and they will all come to pass. We've been through the worst, and now it's time for the blessings. That's how I see it. Catalytic organization that is really holding a perspective that you're not going to hear from the regular party candidates.
But what the Light Party is really about is what these videos are about. It's about consciousness, spiritual awakening, and how spiritual awakening, as we become more spiritually conscious human beings, our values, priorities, and choices naturally transform moment by moment. And what the Light Party is promoting and dedicated to is a tremendous vision. You might call it a utopian vision of health, peace, and freedom for all. And it's our awareness, and my awareness as a Hermetic, Kabbalistic philosopher, that what is behind all the action in the world, what we see as the world, is a tremendous process and program which is really about humanity's spiritual awakening, ultimately the liberation of humanity, which the outcome will be health, peace, freedom, and prosperity for all. Now, in part, what the Light Party is about and very connected to is the tremendous transformation that's happening on the planet, which is connected to the 2012 timeline, and that we're passing through a tremendous portal and moving, the Earth and humanity is moving into a new dimension in consciousness. what we have done and what we're addressing and looking at is how does this transformation of consciousness play out on a socio-economic level. And the foundation of the Light Party as a holistic physician is Project Health, our number one point. The strength of our nation is directly proportional to the health of our people. And a corollary to that is healthy soil creates healthy plants, creates healthy people. So a lot of what I've been involved with as an MD is health awareness. We have a health crisis here, you know. And I wrote a book in the 70s called Medicine Today, Healing Tomorrow, which basically said if we don't move into prevention or what is now called complementary or alternative medicine, empowering people to stay well, to understand the importance of self-responsibility and doing those things, which we now is common sense, to maintain your health, which is exercise, spiritual practice, and proper nutrition. Those are the core holistic principles, exercise, attitude, and nutrition to maintain the health of yourself, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and biologically. But implicit within this understanding of self-responsibility is our fundamental responsibility to be guardians and stewards of the planetary ecosystem, because our biological health is intricately connected to the health of the ecosystem of the planet. Now, from a Native American perspective, the Earth, Gaia, is actually a living, evolving being, and she is actually birthing, along with cosmic energies, a new humanity, where health and peace and freedom is our divine birthright. These images are all designed to basically awaken us, remind us our connection to Source, and more importantly, what is the nature of this Source that we're all connected to? Now, from my understanding and awareness, the nature of this Source energy, which we call God, infinite intelligence, Great Spirit, however you want to call it, it's rooted in a fundamental reality, and that reality, as my awareness and understanding, is that it's rooted in infinite love, infinite wisdom, infinite power. Now, if you understood yourself as that, the only thing that you can do, will do, or continue to do, this is the self, the one that we're all part of, is to empower every part of itself, which is all of us, to become more of what we were designed or intended to become, which is conscious, living, loving, compassionate human beings. And what is bringing this forward as far as the transformation of consciousness, which is actually implicit in this video, is the incarnation now, incarnational energies of what we call the divine feminine principle, which is coming into balance the male patriarchal energies, which is a hierarchical system, which has created a 3D economic paradigm, which you see in, has anybody seen the movie Wall Street? So that's an economic system that is hierarchical, and you can say that the wealthy have concentrated power in the hands of the few, and they have basically been running this planet, and this is what David Icke talks about and many other people, that this is a planet that's been run for the wealthy, by the wealthy, on behalf of the wealthy. And the wealthy basically have amalgamated or concentrated a tremendous amount of wealth, and they divvy it out as they so please. You have a system that is continually concentrating wealth in the hands of few and few people, you're set up for a major revolution. So what the Light Party is really about is it addressing this, what I call the medical, military, industrial complex, which is a fear-based, scarcity-based paradigm. How do we transmute this current economic, ecological paradigm and transmute it? So the way we transmute it is through the decentralization of power. And how do we do that? There's only one way to actually decentralize power, and it's through education, and more education. And it also requires that each of us begin to take a stand for ourselves, our cells, our biology, and the planetary ecosystem. Now, I've written a book, which is on our website, which is part of the Light Party. It's called The Healing and Regeneration of America. And it talks about the current political, economic, pharmaceutical structure. And we're talking about the importance of naturopathic medicine, homeopathic medicine, chiropractic, all what we're calling complementary or alternative medicine that is coming into play now about how we can begin to address or resolve a lot of our physical ailments, be they psychological or physiological. Most of the disease on this planet is environmentally related. And we also know, science has proved that most diseases can be dealt with, not completely, through nutritional awareness. However, nutritional awareness. But until, and I emphasize this point over and over and over again, until the soil, our soil, which has basically been denuded and burned because of petrochemicals, we have lost the essential micronutrients, and the importance of the mineral kingdom have been taken out of the foods, and there's a lot of awareness about this. And as a result, biologically, we we're not firing on all cylinders. So on a biological level, if you're interested in health, the key to good health is the remineralization of the blood, making sure you get the proper micronutrients so the cells can function, and the essential elements, minerals, and oxygen. Because what we are as human beings, the 4 elements for health is sunlight, good water, exercise, and proper nutrition. Now the 5th element in the Kabbalah, that's called Yod-He Shin, Yod-He Vav-He, that's fire, water, air, and earth. The 5th element is called Shin, which is the cohesive force of the universe, which is love. And love is what is behind everything. Love is the cohesive force that keeps the whole universe together. Now, getting back and shifting gears, what I've come to understand, and this is really what the Light Party is proposing, advocating, and discussing, is that there is truly a divine plan for humanity. And that divine plan can only be one thing. And I'll ask you that one thing can only be if you acknowledge the fact that consciousness, it's not about economics, in 3D politics, it's economics stupid. No, in the 5th dimension, which is what the Light Party is about, is an Aquarian, utopian, practical utopian party, it's about consciousness. So as we as humanity become more conscious and begin to understand who we are and the power that not only we're part of and connected to, that this power, which is rooted in infinite love, infinite wisdom, has the innate ability to give us and to continually giving us everything we could ever want in spades. So in other words, human beings, we are connected to infinite divine consciousness, infinite divine potential. Now, I'll bring it down to earth. The point is that consciousness is rooted in the infinite. So if consciousness is infinite, that means that there are infinite possibilities, infinite life forms. The universe is infinite. This is what consciousness is. Consciousness, to understand consciousness, that which was, that which is, that which shall be. I mean, we're talking about reality here. It's defined personally through our experience now. if you've had deep internal meditation and experiences and opening up to the infinite, you know, I know, that the universe is rooted in good, and that its intent can only be one thing and one thing only: progressive liberation. Now, this progressive liberation plays itself out now through education, through art, through science, through psychology, through spiritual teachings. We are birthing a global renaissance that is coming through knowledge. Now, walk around and you'll see, again, this is how I operate, and this is what the Light Party addresses. Whatever the problem is, real or imagined, a solution exists. Anybody who tells you we don't have an answer is not telling you the truth. Whatever the problem is, there's a solution. Now, our job, personally and collectively, is to analyze clearly what, in quotes, the problem is, and then come up with an answer. Now, there are many different possible solutions to whatever the problem is, be it on a personal level, relationship level, health level, or on a macro level. How do we deal with the real and or imagined inequities, pain and suffering in the world? Because we're all connected and we all feel this, we're all on a soul level are responsible, individually and collectively, for what is going on in the world. Now, if we can gain perspective, which is critical, and relax and move beyond the 3D drama and be able to step out of the world and take a look with a changed attitude and perspective, we can begin to act back into the world from a conscious place. Now, the key there is to understand what is your part, what is my part in this tremendous cosmic drama. And like, who are we and how do we fit into this cosmic soup that's going on? Well, that takes a lot of analysis, but on a practical level, what the Light Party is focusing on is Project Health. What can you do right now to increase your vitality, increase the quality of your life? What can you do? Exercise, shift your attitude, self-empowerment, realize yourself, that who you are is a being that has an infinite. We've been part of an infinite journey, and we are waking up now to the truth of who we are. Now, in this awakening, which is not just personal now, it's a collective awakening, as the Earth shifts in dimension, what is going to happen now and is already happening, and this to me is going to be the game changer, is that we are going to have deeper and deeper connection with other universes, other life forms called the extraterrestrials. They represent our future. They are our future self. They are not here to save us. They are here to bring us to the awareness that we truly are multidimensional beings, and we live in a multidimensional universe that's rooted in the infinite.
If you could talk to me, what news would you bring of voices in the sky? Nightingale hovering high, harmonize the wind. Darkness, your symphony, I can hear you sing of voices in the sky. Voices in the sky.
Some lonely windswept morning, a day just like today, a sight that you had ever seen will manifest in its own way. The birds will still be flying, but the works of darkness will fall. The joy, neighbors crying, hearts will answer the call. The grand pronouncements will lift us to a new high. Magic spreading to every corner of sky. When starships fly, when the starships fly. Can you imagine the look on everyone's face when glory shines down on us from every corner of space? Millions have joined our vision a reunited force, lending knowledge and power, sent from the shining source. Grand pronouncements within this to you high, magic spreading to every corner of the sky. When the starships fly.
Now, for a lot of people, this is very scary because we've been in a lockdown 3D world where our perspective and our perception has been quite limited. And therefore, we've been rooted deeply in illusion. So we have to move from an illusion world, which is rooted in fear, into a love-based freedom world. Now, there are many ways to extricate yourself out of the box. Now, one of the things that we talk about on the Light Party, on our spiritual section, is how do you transmute fear? How do you move beyond fear? Well, one of the things, key things, is working with what's called the violet flame.
The violet flame of God's infinite perfection is the most powerful tool available to help us accelerate the integration of our I Am presence. It is the perfect balance of our Father God's blue flame of power and divine will, and our Mother God's pink flame of divine love and reverence for all life. This sacred fire will transmute the etheric records and memories associated with the negative behavior patterns that were left behind by our human egos.
Another thing, which is the Course of Miracles, is working and understanding the power of forgiveness.
I've been thinking about our fortune, and I decided that we're really not to blame for the love that's deep inside us now. It's still the same, and the sound we make together is the music to the story in your eyes. It's been shining down upon me now. I realize. Listen to the tide slowly turning.
because we've all been conditioned with limited belief systems. We have to understand that we've been conditioned. This is what Buddhism deals with. Accept the fact that we've been conditioned. We've hook, line, and sinker. We've bought a lot of nonsense, either from a religious level, from our parents, from our schools. We have basically accepted many things that aren't necessarily true at all. I mean, now I'm speaking as an MD. I was trained in an allopathic system. I got out of that system in the 70s, and I was very nervous about it because I had the responsibility of trying to help people and heal them. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I knew that I had to re-educate myself. But what I did know at the time is that I followed one precept. Of course, in my education and awakening and all this, I moved through many levels of growth. But the thing that my golden thread was, do no harm. And I knew at the time that I was giving drugs and I was giving advice that was fundamentally doing a lot of harm. And I was very much in conflict with myself. Hence, I wrote a book called Medicine Today, Healing Tomorrow, which at the time was a very revolutionary book because it was a heavy critique on the allopathic model. And then I began to study, and at the time I was in San Francisco. I was drawn to many healers because the Bay Area is a very kind of forward-thinking place. I learned about acupuncture, I learned about Chinese philosophy, I learned about herbs, and then I got into more deeper spiritual teachings and understood the power of the subconscious and the mind and how the mind affects the body, and then understood more and more about how the immune system is the key to good health. That most diseases are fundamentally autoimmune diseases. The germ theory of disease, you get germs and viruses, they're all over the place. Why are some people healthy and don't get affected by germs and viruses, and why do some people get sick? The flu system is around the corner, and a lot of people get sick and they run to the doctors and get vaccinated, while a lot of people say, it doesn't affect me. Why? Because the belief system is not congruent with the fact that you're just not going to accept that viruses are going to do you in, and that you'll take certain precautions. You'll learn how to maintain and protect your immune system. You can do that nutritionally, you can do it with herbs, you can do it spiritually. Now, very interesting enough, the main key to the immune system is the alimentary tract and the thymus gland. Does everybody here know where the thymus gland is and what it is? Does anybody know what the thymus gland is? Thymus gland is what mediates it's really what mediates your entire immune system. The thymus gland, all our different glands connect to different chakra systems. The thymus gland, interesting enough, lies right over, it's connected to the heart chakra. So there's a whole science called psychoneuroimmunology. So scientifically, we know that our immune system is absolutely the key to good health. Now, if you take it psychologically and spiritually, the heart chakra is the love chakra. Now, if we have fear, anger, hatred, resentment, it shuts down the heart chakra. Now, guess what happens if you shut down the heart chakra? You shut down the immune system. So healthy mind, healthy body. This was understood by the Greeks thousands of years ago. So it's very interesting. Now, what these videos are all about and what I do with music, and there are many ways this opens up the heart chakra. These aren't just pretty pictures. That, what you're looking at right now, that diamond, is called the monad. You're actually, through my artists, we've actually created images that have been transmitted to us that bring you back into understanding what's behind all of it. That is what's behind all of it, 24/7. That is called the monad, the Atman, Ketharon, the tree of life. That's what's pulsing 24/7. That is the Godhead energy. You're looking at it. Now, our job is to connect to that consciously, but understanding that there's never a time, never was a time, and never will be a time where we're not connected to it. So part of the job is to meditate, become aware of our connection to Source, infinite love, infinite wisdom, infinite power, and begin to refine our consciousness and refine our bodies so that we become much more sensitive to the guidance that we're receiving moment by moment by moment, and understanding in a very deep level, because this is what's behind it all, is what's behind the universe and the dance is love and beauty and grace and fun, which we have forgotten about because we have taken it all very, very seriously. And we have lost our innocence, and we've been embroiled, embedded into a very highly technological, fear-based world. And as a result, we've all contracted our consciousness. Is everybody following the concepts here? So, our point is, if you go into the Light Party website, beside the philosophical, spiritual foundation I'm talking about, is very, very practical information. And I have a book called the Human Ecology Program, Comprehensive Health Maintenance and Rejuvenation Process, that came out of my work of the director of San Francisco Medical Research Foundation. I'll tell you this, San Francisco Medical, the Light Party, was a research and development project of the San Francisco Medical Research Foundation, of how the point was that we wanted to bring the holistic perspective into the political mix. And of course, there's a timing here, because in the 70s I already knew, or believed, that until we really began to emphasize wellness and prevention and began seriously understanding how proper nutrition is critical to good health, common sense, that we were going to have a massive breakdown, financial breakdown, because there are going to be so many sick people walking around nobody can afford it. Well, the key to the healthcare crisis is very simple. What do you think it is? Stay healthy. Well, no, that's true, Phil. That takes work. That means look, let me tell you something about myself. I mean, I'm fortunate. My foundation, I've run it on a shoestring for the last 20 years. This is how I do this work. I run a small but very powerful. We have an email database now that goes all over to 800,000 people. We do a thing every 3 times a month. It's called a planetary service announcement. We broadcast art. We broadcast the best information on health that we just put out a statement every month, but it's always inspiration, education, inspiration, education, inspiration, education. The thing to really understand, when you really understand reality or take a look at what's behind it, is this whole thing of infinite power. The universe is a super empowerment program. It's always empowering themselves to grow and to progress. It can't do anything else because it's infinitely creative. At the highest levels, we can't even begin to imagine what God is creating. God created us. God created universes within universes within universes. Science looks out into space and it's infinite. Well, more importantly, on a personal, practical level, God, DNA, created us. God got us all that is. But God got us all that is, created us to become just like God got us. In other words, we are the creator created. We are the creator created. We are the creator created. So it's like that Nike commercial, be like Mike. Become God-like, become Buddha-like, become Christ-like. because that is in our DNA to become that. That is our divine inheritance. And as we become truly who we are, then the whole world perception and attitude shifts. We become peace-loving, compassionate, forgiving, creative individuals. So the way I look at it is the one becomes the few, becomes the many, becomes the all, and then we have this beautiful awakening where we begin to see the world as it really is, with new eyes, the new heaven, the new earth. And what's intimate to seeing the world with a proper attitude, and I stress this over, is the purification of the mind and the body. You've got to become really interested in yourself. You've got to be willing to say, look, I am a human being. I'm on this planet. I want to become an eco-steward. I want to make the world a better place. And of course, fundamentally, the most important place you start with is yourself. Okay? Now, the thing to understand about economics is, and I'll give you another example which we're all interested in, energy. Now here we go with consciousness versus the temporal fundamental reality here, is that we have been tethered to an oil-based world. Now we have a site called Project Light. The foundation of Project Light is that all the power that ever was or will be is here now. Every day, every moment, just as we speak, there's been literally infinite amount of clean solar energy coming to this planet every moment.
It's the dawning of a bright day. Now the sun is shining through, shining through. Turn to the sun, turn to the wind, turn to the water, my friend. All creation is one under the sun, under the sun. The power is free. Look up and see. It's for you and me, my friend. May all the nations be one under the sun, under the sun.
Project Light is just calling for a fast track to sustainable global solar, hydrogen, hemp-based economy. This is the future. It will create millions of new jobs, will clean up the environment. We will have we will create, eventually, if we do this, a practical utopian society, because ultimately once you create the infrastructure, once you put this into place, you've capitalized it, once it's up and running, the source is infinite, so the cost of energy for all intents and purposes will become negligible, non-existent. The first thing you'll see on Project Light, you click in and there's a site. This guy did all the work for us, and he has listed about 60 or 70 new ongoing clean
energy technologies at various levels of development, including, which you will see, I guarantee within 2 years, the introduction of what's called zero-point energy, which is going to forever and eternally change the energetic structure of this planet. Again, consciousness is infinite. Now, if consciousness is infinite, energy is infinite. So we have basically said the only source of energy on this planet, the major source of energy, and that's what this gentleman was saying, you can run a whole planet on a hemp-based economy, and what he's saying is absolutely so, and I am quite aware of all those points. And as we move forward, we are going to continue to educate people to not only the benefits of hemp, because hemp not only is a plant that grows everywhere, it's a very, it can also create oil. It's a very, very good nutritional source of protein. You're aware of that, right? So it's a super plant. So why hasn't it been allowed into the mix? It's called a disruptive technology. It threatens certain very rooted economic systems. It's the same thing with oil. I know a guy, he's developing what's called the PAP engine. It will completely revolutionize, it's a proven technology, how to run an automobile engine on inert gases. Well, think about it. Tomorrow somebody says, hey, we don't need to run a car on gasoline anymore. You can run it on water, you can run it on inert gases. Well, the people at ExxonMobil and Shell and all these other people are going to go, yeah, but what about us? Same thing with the military-industrial complex. These are very core, tough things. We all want peace. We as human beings do not want to feel that we are responsible for mass mayhem and the killing of other individuals. I mean, hey, we just came out of this fiasco in Iraq. I just read the statistics. 100,000 Iraqi civilians have been killed. 2.5 million people have been displaced. Tremendous refugee problems in Lebanon, in Jordan, in Syria, and we created all this. We have created what is called a massive military-industrial complex, which takes about $800 to $900 billion of our tax dollars. We're paying for it. We are, if you look at your tax dollars, $800 billion for the military, a certain amount for paying the interest on the debt, which is enough. So basically paying the interest on the debt and paying for this military, which is supposedly protecting our vital interests, i.e. oil, that's 50 cents on the dollar. The other 50 cents goes to some good things. But if you look at a graph, you'll see that most of the money is going to the military and to pay the interest on the debt. So we know this intrinsically, and for many people, it's very, very upsetting situation. So what do? We're always back to this, what do we do? How do we resolve this issue? These are really tough questions, because every time the government, which is what Gates is trying to do, is the present defenseman, Anytime he tries to cut back on the military, everybody says, yeah, we've got to cut back on the military. We've got massive unemployment in this country, millions of people out of work. And let's just say we decided to cut back on the military 100 or 200 billion. Think about what that 100 or 200 billion dollars of money internally could do to re-stimulate the economy, build infrastructure. That's what politics is all about. Everybody's protecting their own special interests. $100 billion tax cut, a war, a peace dividend. Why aren't we doing this? I mean, these are the kind of things that I contemplate. Why isn't this happening? Tell me. Question. See, the way I look at it, and this is the fundamental supposition of the Light Party, is we're moving from unconsciousness to consciousness. There's going to come a time, and we will wake up and look at what we've been doing to ourselves and to the planet and go, my God. So that's where the forgiveness comes in. But it's also a matter of really taking responsibility and going, well, it doesn't really matter. We are stewards of this planet. We're co-creating reality. To create a peaceful world is absolutely honoring at the deepest level who we are intrinsically and the Creator, however you want, because the Creator and the great angels and archangels and those great beings who have been actually guiding and helping humanity become more conscious are aligned with the divine. The divine is rooted in infinite love, infinite wisdom, and infinite power. And the outcome to that understanding and alignment can only be one thing. The new heaven, the new earth is peace, which we're all calling for, is peace. But ultimately, the only place we're ever going to have real peace is peace within our own self. But as more of us become peaceful, then the whole economic, political, socioeconomic structure has to change, collapse, and transform. We're in a transitional phase. So it's really, you kind of get the gist of what I'm saying is consciousness shifts, our psychology shifts, and our political institutions will shift because we're just not going to continue to do the old ways.
If war was the answer, then we'd be at peace, and the battles in the distance would have all finally ceased. We still have a choice to live and be free. So let's all raise our voice and become a planet of peace. I'm declaring peace. I'm declaring peace. Deep within myself, I'm declaring peace. I'm declaring peace. Deep within myself, I'm declaring peace.
be love, 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 as to love. For it's in giving that we receive, and it's in pardoning that we are pardoned.
The Hindus have a very good way of looking at suffering, because that's the thing that all theologians and philosophers have been, if there's this wonderful, great, terrific, beneficent God, why all the bullshit?
Dying for the sake of our name. Why should our children carry our pain? I asked for a reason, then I heard you say, to know freedom, freedom echoes
Human beings have free will choice. We learn through our choices, just like children. We've been given the choice, this, not that, this, not that, this, not. Now, looking at it fundamentally, I speak from the point of health. If you do this, there's a result. If you do this, if you eat junk food, there's a result. If you don't exercise, there's a result. If you don't learn some kind of stress management system for yourself and you have a reactive mind, you're going to have breakdown. So we're seeing a collective breakdown, because it's not sustainable and it's not rooted in the truth of who we are. So there's a great dichotomy between who we really are and this conditioned myopia that has created this, very uncomfortable crises that are happening all over the place. But what it really is, crisis, from a Chinese philosophy, means the opportunity. It's an opportunity for growth. So it's really all about growth, and that's what you're saying. And in the growth is the forgiveness and awareness. So we're all being asked very clearly to begin to make profound new choices, from very simple things to political action. So one of the things that I say very clearly, very practical is, and again, anything that I'm putting out there, I'm continually self-reflecting, is what do you believe? What are you buying into? What are you buying? What are you buying? And what are you buying into? So in other words, you've got to get really clear within the core of your being of what is true for you and stand up for your own truth. It takes courage. Throughout history, there have been great men and women who have stood up for their truth. By doing that, they have had a profound effect on the world. But what we're seeing today is that millions of people are moving into truth, in the truth of the I am, into the truth of the present, and that we know, absolutely know, that we can shift this reality.
Why don't you bring forth your highest vision? Bring forth your highest vision. Bring forth your highest vision. Bring forth your highest vision now. Here, this way, unfolding. Why don't you bring forth your clearest focus? Bring forth your clearest focus. Bring forth your clearest focus. Bring forth your clearest focus now. Here, this way, unfolding.
Just a wave that drifts around you, singing all our hopes and dreams. We look around in wonder at the work that has been done by the visions of our Father, touched by His loving Son. All we are trying to say is we are all we've got. You and me just cannot
Our responsibility is to make the world a better place. It's that simple. And what we're providing is not only on a personal level, the wherewithal, the software programs of how to do it, but to also take political action. And we have a thing called the Sacred Commitment. It's the inroad into the whole Light Party. And then we have a thing called Current Political Action Alerts. There are thousands and thousands of individuals, groups, not only in America, all over the world, who are working very hard, lean and mean, who are working to affect real change on this planet. So we have to be easy with ourselves, we have to be compassionate with ourselves, we have to be forgiving for ourselves, but at the same time we have to be brutally honest with ourselves, because we're not only responsible for ourselves. You know, from a Native American perspective, it's 7 generations. We're responsible for who comes after us. We're also, as this gentleman was saying, we're also responsible for, common sense-wise, for maintaining the health and of the environment. And thank God now, you know, everybody's talking green in the environment, because we basically have poisoned ourselves. Everybody agree with that? So why do we do this? Why, when we know that poisoning the earth and the world it's a suicidal action? Now, I understand it to the degree that I can. Is Carl Jung, who is a great deep metaphysician in psychology, says there are 2 urges within every human being. There's the will to life, and there's a death wish. So, and those are 2 forces. There are forces within our psyche to live, and there's also a force that is self-destructive. And that self-destructive force is that part of ourselves, our shadow self, that is not integrated with this. When we integrate with that, the love, the beauty, the grace, the inner Christ, the inner self, the Buddha mind, then we become profoundly proactive. And it isn't even so much about doing anything. The new teachings is you don't really have to do anything, you just have to be it. The fact that if you can ground this energy just by being it, you radiate positive energy into the world. And the more positive energy that's radiated into the world, then the world, because it's all connected, it's holographic, the world begins to change. So that's why I say the one becomes the few, becomes the many, becomes the all. And as time moves on, more and more people are getting hip to how it works. So our responsibility is to learn to generate with pure intent, real positive energy. That's meditation. We're involved every month, new moons, full moons. There are all these celebrations that are going on all the time now to bring people together with singular focus and anchor positive divine energy onto the planet. Now there are spiritual groups, that's all they're meant to do. They're not politically active. You've heard about people in the Himalayas who actually sit in the caves, and the Buddhists in Tibet. All their job is to do is to radiate positive energy onto the planet. That's what they do. And by God, they're doing it. It's subtle and it's behind the scenes. are very active in the West. We're doers. So our job is to, right livelihood is to do the spiritual work and to enter into a process where what we're doing in the world is conscious. Now that's tough. You know, let's say you're a person who's working on an assembly land making weapons of mass destruction, and you go to church on Sunday or synagogue or Saturday or whatever, and you know, you pray to God for peace and all this stuff, and then on Monday you're creating stuff that's going to blow people to smithereens. One of the things I've put out into the world many times said, it's my heartfelt prayer that we, as a Judeo-Christian nation, of course, that's where we profess to be a Judeo-Christian nation. And not to say there aren't Hindus or Buddhists and atheists in this country. But we continue to pray on Saturday and Sunday and continue to make weapons of mass destruction on Monday. So we got to come out of denial because we are responsible for our thoughts, words, and deeds. So what my job is to make sure I keep cleaning up my own act and not judge others, which is tricky business. So all I can do is to continue personally to put out a very, very powerful possibility called health, peace, and freedom for all. And from where I sit and from what I know as a process, that it is not just a grand vision, but it's an inevitability because I understand what's behind it. This is what's behind it. The love, the wisdom, the power is behind it. So we have friends in high places, and we also have our own true self, which is the greatest ally friend you can ever have, is your own inner self, which is empowering every part of you and me and everything else to become genuine, authentic, loving, compassionate, creative, fun-loving human beings. That's the way we were designed to be. And to let go of that which no longer serves. So it is obviously a very profound transition because we're cycling out of a very dark age. If you study the Hindu cosmology, we're cycling out of what's called the Kali Yuga cycle. We're in the age of purification, and we're moving into what's called the Satya Yuga, believe it or not, a golden age. Now, in the grand scheme of things, if you follow the Mayan calendar, which is completing very soon, it's a 15 billion year cycle. In the Hindu cosmology, it's a 250,000 year cycle. There are other cycles that are 26,000 years that are completing. All these different cycles are completing now. And what is the outcome? The outcome is that we will be moving back in a deep core level into unitive consciousness, back into oneness.
We are one in the infinite sun, forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. We are one in the infinite sun, forever and ever and ever. We are one infinite sun forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. We are one in the infinite sun forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Where all is one, and one is truth, and truth is light, and light is peace, and peace is love, and love is here, and here we are, here we
And in that oneness, we come into the present time, the eternal here and now. And one of the statements I always put out is that all the power that ever was or will be is here now. Fill in the blanks. All the love that ever was or will be is here now. All the peace that ever was or will be is here now. Fill in the blanks. Jesus 2,300 years ago said the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Well, what was he really talking about? He's talking about the now. Fundamental Christians are waiting for Christ to come back. Well, where did he go? He went on a sabbatical? Consciousness has always been around because consciousness is all there is. It's just the veils are being released and we're coming back to what always was, and the illusions of the mind, which is what Buddhism deals with, are being stripped away. So everything's coming full circle. And in that full circle is a birthing of a new age, a golden age. So, I mean, I'm no doubt I'm probably sounding very Pollyanna to my massive audience. But I'm obviously very optimistic because I live in an artist's world. This is the world I live in.
I've developed a new concept in art which I call artainment. It's sort of a sophisticated MTV, and what we've been doing is we work with very, very beautiful music. my inspiration has always been nature. I spent a lot of time on Mount Tam, hiking, walking through the redwoods, going out to Western Marin and Port Reyes. So my inspiration really comes from not only within myself, but the fact that I'm really supported by an incredibly beautiful environment here in Marin County. MD, through my Medical Research Foundation, this has been an integral part of demonstrating the power of music and imagery for healing and transforming consciousness. And the science of it is actually quite, we know that it creates an alpha state, a theta state, it induces a deep meditative state, and everything all the benefits of what meditation is. So we're using television as a means not just for distraction and entertainment, but for enlightenment.
This is artainment. This is a big part of what I'm about. This is the integration of consciousness and technology. Do you like this? Do you enjoy this? So-so? See, this is fractal geometry. Now, beside being pretty colors, we live in a fractal universe that's continually rearranging itself every moment. The universe is continually conforming and rearranging itself to our consciousness. So we have a collective awakening happening. The whole universe, this whole earth plane is going to shift. But you can start with yourself. My goal is to get this out to millions and millions and millions and millions of people. Because when you watch this, in the now, your consciousness is going to shift. I have this stuff going on all the time in my house, not necessarily with music. These images, that's what's behind it all. This is perfect mandalic, integrated, pristine imagery. It not only brings you into touch with what is, it's feedback to source, and source feeds back to you. I've shown this in groups, and I can tell you, God's honest truth, every time we've shown this in groups, there's been a fundamental shift in the weather and nature, because it feeds back. The universe responds to positive. It not only responds to positive, it also responds to negative. It's a cybernetic feedback system that's continually feeding back. So feed light in, light out, darkness in, darkness out. So I'm into music and art. I'm a child of the 60s. This is very psychedelic, but there's no drugs involved. That's the monad again. That's source. So it keeps taking you back to here at that point. Well, anyway, I think I've said everything I need to say, and it's always great to answer questions. But what I suggest is spend some real quality time and go to the Light Party site, and you'll see really one of the most comprehensive, highly integrated websites on the planet. And to know that we are connecting to more and more people, and our intent comes around 2012, the next election cycle, is that everybody's going to know about the Light Party, and everybody's also going to know that everybody's part of it. So we don't have to, we're not about winning any elections, we're just about creating awareness. That's totally what it's about. That we're, if we just can get our message out of health, peace, and freedom for all, and get people to start thinking about it and know that that's a possibility and it's where we're going, then people become empowered and hopefully inspired to take action. And then what that means is very personal. What constitutes, from a Buddhist perspective, right action? Now in my world, I don't have to do anything. Every day the universe keeps laying it on me of next step, next step, next step, next step. Because I've put out enough clarity of intent that the universe is the masters are very excited about what we're doing, because the Light Party, health, peace, and prosperity and freedom for all, is aligned with divine intent. Following? We're certainly aligned with a cosmic intentionality. And this is the outcome, folks. And part of the Light Party is to get everybody literally out into the light. Like I say, that's integral to my life. I make sure every day I commune in nature.
Tuesday afternoon. Those gentle voices I hear explain it all with a
Here in the Isles, rest for a while. Green rolling hills, time does stand still. Peace in the air, Flora is here until you go. Make sky your home. The highlands, the highlands, the islands, the skylands, the highlands, the islands, the skylands. Come to the island sky. Come to the island sky. Come to the island sky.
So for me, from a level of an artist, as a physician, as a visionary, as a humanitarian, this is an absolutely perfect art project of the highest dimension. This idea will grow and spread throughout the whole planet. And not only will it just happen here in the Bay Area, but this idea will transmigrate throughout the planet because we're all connected. So here's an opportunity to not only build local community, but to open our hearts, open our minds to a possibility, to something that will absolutely activate tremendous levels of creativity. Thousands and thousands of years ago, that this island, this little piece of rock, was a healing temple. It was called Crystal Island. History proceeds, evolution proceeds through the transformation of consciousness and powerful ideas. consciousness. So the name of the game is to become conscious. In that awakening into consciousness, we are called to act, speak, and do in a different MO. We have a different MO. It can be anything, you know, people who are fervent and passionate about this cause and that cause and whatever cause. My cause is all about becoming conscious, because I know as we become more conscious, this is where we go.
Birds are singing sweet and low from the trees that gently grow. Soft and soothing breezes blow on this lovely day. To the meadow there go I to wander as the butterfly. How the flowers please my eye on this lovely day. I wish it could be always. Life is easy on such a day. I wish this peace on everyone on this lovely day. I wish it could be always. Life is easy on such a day. I wish this peace on everyone on this lovely day. La da 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 dee da da, la da 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 dee da da. La da 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 dee da da on this lovely day. I wish it could be always. Life is easy on such a day. I wish this peace on everyone on this lovely day. La da da dee da da, la da da dee da da, la da da dee da da on this lovely day. I wish it could be always. Life is easy on such a day. This peace on everyone on this lovely day. Birds are singing sweet and low from the trees that gently grow. Soft and soothing breezes blow on this lovely day.
May the sound of this bell penetrate deep into the cosmos. Even in the darkest spots, living beings are able to hear it clearly, so that all suffering in them cease, understanding come to their heart, and they transcend the path of sorrow and death. The universal Dharma door is already open. The sound of the rising tide is heard clearly. The miracle happens. A beautiful child appears in the heart of a lotus flower. One single drop of this compassionate water is enough to bring back the refreshing spring to our mountains and rivers.
Nghe chuông phiền não tan mây khói, lặng thân an miệng mỉm cười. Hơi thở nương chuông về chánh niệm, vườn tâm hoa tuệ xinh tươi.
Listening to the bell, I feel the afflictions in me begin to dissolve. My mind calm, my body relaxed. A smile is born on my lips. Following the sound of the bell, my breath brings me back to the safe island of mindfulness. In the garden of my heart, the flowers of peace bloom beautifully.
Phổ môn vọng tiếng triều dưng, bé thơ xuất hiện giữa lòng đóa sen. Cơm lộ một giọt rưới lên, xuân về trên khắp mọi miền núi sông. Phổ môn vọng tiếng triều dưng, bé thơ xuất hiện giữa lòng đóa sen. Cơm lộ một giọt rưới lên, xuân về trên khắp mọi miền núi sông.
one people. We acknowledge the sacredness of all life. We share and acknowledge one common vision. We choose to live in peace. We choose to live in health, and we choose to live in freedom. In realizing our common humanity and our sacred relationship to the earth and each other, we choose to become conscious planetary stewards and choose to co-create a world where health, peace, and freedom for all prevails.